Good morning, everyone. A very good morning. Shall we begin the session? We have done with the project creation. We have done with the designer view. Now let's move to the next VSTO part, that is the designer part. So this is the design view for the VSTO Excel code behind. And there are a few interesting facts that is given over here. So first, Excel is running inside Visual Studio 2005 as a designer, just the same as a Windows Form designer that would then develop a Windows Form project. On the same way, there's the menu bar open with the figure that is given, and VSTO also matches the Visual Studio menu that may be either debug, that may be either build, either execute. And the Excel menu items are also available, that is format, data and so on together, and menu item that appears in both Visual Studio and the Excel that merged by adding some menu to the Visual Studio menu, such as the Microsoft Office Excel tools that can be selected to see the Excel tools menu. Excel tools data is also available with the Visual Studio. This is the tools, Microsoft Office Excel tools. Then there are multiple parts. One part is also available, that are options. And third, when you notice in this one that the toolbox contains a new category, Excel controls. And when designing a document using Visual Studio, you can also create name range and a list object using the Excel menu items. That is familiar to the Excel users also, or the toolbox items or ITM familiar to the Visual Studio users. And for that, the notice that the properties window should also provide or also shows the properties of the selected object, in this case sheet 1, and you can use the properties window to edit properties of the Excel objects. In the same way how you edit the properties of the controls and the forms in a Windows form project. So whatever the form project, whatever the criteria that we have, so that we'll be able to generate controls and the forms in a Windows form project. And notice that the Solution Explorer has also 4 classes in it already, and each underlying the Excel worksheet and the workbook object that is represented by the .NET class. So that is represented by the .NET that you can extend and also customize. And as you can make changes to the document in the designer, so this code also updates automatically to drag a list object from the toolbox onto the sheet in designer. That makes the 10 rows and the 4 columns. So when we talk about the Excel workbook, that is the 4 rows and the 4 functions that will be available. And as you see from the properties window, the designer has chosen a default name for the new list object. So we can also edit that. But in this example, we will default or we will keep a default name that is a list one. Now let's take a look at the code behind this worksheet and also make some simple changes to it. So when we right click on the sheet1.ca, that means it's the coding part in the Solution Explorer, and then choose View Code. So we are going to briefly illustrate 2 VSTO features. One is the action pane, one is the list object data binary. And we will declare a Windows form button as a member variable of the class and call it my button. So we use one member variable, we use as a button, and in the startup event, we will show that button in the document section and also declare that action that will be available, that will be used for the documents pane. Displays the document action pane that will be available or that will be used for the control collection. And in the startup events, we will show that button in the document action pane by adding it to the actions pane control collection. And doing so will cause our Excel to show the document action pane, task pane, and also displays our button. We will also handle this, the click event of the button, and when the button is clicked, we will bind the data R list, or we will bind our list object to a randomly generated data table. So this shows the list encoding, that is a VSTO customization that adds a control to the document action task pane and data binds a list object control to a data table. So when you're using system.data, system.drawing, system.windows.forms, Microsoft.visual studio, tools.application.runtime, using Excel equals to Microsoft.office.intro.excel, And Office equals to Microsoft.office.course. This is the system that is available with the Windows.com, the drawing that will be used for the calculation with the Visual Studio tools, applications, and there is a namespace. Excel Workbook 1, Public Partial Class Sheet 1, Button, My Button, New Button. So this is a new button function that will be going into the My Button. Then data table, and then public or private void sheet 1 startup, object center, event ARGSE. So there are two parts in this. One parameter is the center of the object type, one is the event RGSE. Then text is selected with the button is the data bind, and the click is used with the new event handler, my button click. Then global this workbook action pane control my button. So this is used with the my button data handler. That event will be fired with the my button click. And this workbook will be used as a control pane for adding the buttons. So void my button click object sender event argse list one dot data source null table equals to new data table random r new random function, and this starts with the 0, ends with the 4, ends with the 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, then I plus plus, then table dot columns dot add columns plus I dot toString. So this toString function will be used with this I. Then I equals to 0, I is less than 20. This goes from the 0 to the 19. Then tables dot rows dot add r dot next double r dot next double. There are two parameters in this. One is the next double, another one is also next double. That is used with the next double function, and list one dot data source equals to table. Now whatever the table content that will be used, that will be captured by the list one, or that will be going into the list one dot data source. And this new data table function will also be used with the random function, with the random variable. Now next is the private void sheet 1 shutdown. So one is the startup, that is the startup event, one is the shutdown event. Again there are two parts, one is the event ARGS, the object string. Then reason VSTO designer generated code, summary, required method for designer support, do not modify. This do not modify the content of this method with the code and data. So this required method will be used for the designer method for the designer support. And the summary will be closed. So there is a public void internal startup. This dot startup plus new equals to new system dot event handler sheet 1 startup. Then this dot shutdown plus equals to new system dot event handler sheet 1 shutdown. So there are two parts. One is a startup, one is a shutdown. Then next is the end of the reason. So one is a VSTO generated code, one is a startup, one is a shutdown, one is a new form that will be generated that will be used with the event handler. And build and run the code and make sure that the Excel starts up and the Excel event is raised for the sheet and the button is added to the action tool. And then click on the button and the random data table that is generated out, that is bound to the list object. And we have already briefly illustrated the VSTO support for the document action task pane and the ability to data bind that the VSTO adds to the Excel list object. So whatever the list object data, whatever the document section that will be taken out, that will be used or that will be added to the Excel's list object. And more information will be provided on the VSTO support for the data binding. Now this is Excel worksheet 1. There are 4 columns and the 10 rows, and this result will be added to the documentation task pane. Yeah, these columns have we can say the drop down also list, so that they can also modify, they can also change, they can also redistribute according to the user's requirement. So whatever the user needs, that will be required, that will be modified according to the user's need. Well, Move to the next part. This includes the 10 rows and the 4 columns. And this documentation is also listed in 2.7, and clicking the button we add it to the documentation task view. So whatever the conclusion that we have, whatever the pattern that we have, so that includes the office pattern, that includes information executables, includes the executables, add-ins, and the code behind the document. So whatever the code that we have, so that code will be used, or that code will be used as an action behind the document. And the chapter also introduces how to build solutions following these three basic patterns that is using with the Visual Studio 2005 and the Visual Studio 2005 tools for the office. And note also note that you know how to create a basic automation executables, add-ins, and the code behind the document solution. Now you will use these skills in the next chapter as you focus on this functionality of the Excel, Word, Outlook, and Power that you can use in your solutions. Now, whatever the solution that we have, whatever the purpose that we have, so we use an introduction to the add-ins and the code behind documents. This code will cover the VSTO for the Outlook and the COM objects for the add-in for the Word and the Excel, and automation add-ins for the Excel, and also make the code behind the document model of the VSTO. So whenever we conclude all these, so that will be including one of the part. Now this part is known as the Microsoft Excel Workbook 1.xls. Now we are going to use the startup and the shutdown event. So then how to make the startup, how to make the senders, Windows Forms, Windows Directories, Windows Drawing. So that will conclude each and every pane for the VSTO feature. That may be action pane, that may be a list object data binding. So when we right click on the sheet1.cs in the Solution Explorer and choose the view code, so this makes the worksheet data and makes the simple changes to it. And this Excel controls includes the pointers, name, range, list objects. And all Windows forms, common controls, data, components, dialogues, Excel controls. So this minimizes the properties window, this minimizes the part that we are going to study about this. So whatever the data we have, whatever the follow-up we have, so that will be used with the by default, it is used with the system.data. Again, I'm repeating, there are 4 parts in this: .NET, COM, projects, browse, and the design, and we mainly focus on the COM objects. Now there is an object library that is used with the Word 2003 PIA that adds the reference or additional references to the standalone VBIDE and Microsoft Core Office.core. Sorry, this is the Microsoft Office.core PIA as shown in this, and this is the one that will be applied on the PIA standalone system. This is the PIA that will include or that will provide the definition of some of the types that COM object model needs. And this is again this model that is used with the VB editor integrated into the Office. And this PIA is also used for the common functionality that is shared by all the we can say the Office applications, such as the object